Okay, camera altitude, 2-3 inches maybe. There you have it, boats beneath the opposite shoreline, 1, 2. These guys are a little close for that. So it's just a matter of being patient and finding the boats that are near the middle of the body of water, and you'll catch them in the dip in the middle, underneath the opposite shoreline. But if a boat is too close to either shore, either the nearest one or the furthest one, then it's difficult to catch it inside the concavity of the water to show it. So, I've been waiting all day simply to be able to see the opposite shoreline, because my visibility was insufficient. But now it seems like visibility is there to film the opposite shoreline, and there's boats the appropriate distance away to catch them underneath the opposite shoreline. And with my camera altitude, center of the barrel being only 2 or 3 inches above the water, then poses huge problems for the convex water and large problems for flat water as well. Doesn't get any clearer than that right there. That shoreline is above that boat, clearly. There you have it. All right. So you can thank Kitty Loves Wheat for funding this expedition. It's been a blast. Thank you very much. Obvious concavity. Clearly I'm looking over the fishing boat, seeing the opposite shoreline, and clearly that cargo ship is resting higher. that is amazing footage right there. Look at that. That is outstanding. So we're looking upwards, because my camera altitude's only a couple inches over the water. So we're looking upwards over this white boat, and we're seeing this cargo ship beyond. That should not be possible if water is flat or convex. Not with a camera altitude of this. Now here we have the opposite shoreline, completely above those people fishing. We also have that cargo ship above those people fishing. So here we go. We're going to see where my camera altitude's very low. Let's get a look at my camera altitude real quick. Just 4 or 5 inches off the water. I'm going to pick that cargo ship back up. And you'll notice that closer boat is much lower. I'm looking upwards over that little white boat. in here now. And this water is very rough. You can see the high waves. And still, you can see the boat below the opposite shoreline. Even at this altitude. Look at that, the entire boat is below the opposite shoreline again. And we are, of course, at about, 4 or 5 inch altitude. Furthest boat is highest. Furthest boat is highest. Yet again, boat's underneath the opposite shoreline. And that boat is way above this boat. You are looking at the concavity of water. This camera is at a much lower altitude than this fishing boat, which means I'm looking upward. Wow. See the different layers of horizon? The different levels? Underneath the opposite shoreline again. Bam! Doesn't get any clearer than that. And that vessel way beyond is even higher. Look at the bottom of each boat where it meets the water. This closer boat is lower. It looks like a buoy back there. I'm not even sure. Obvious concavity. Outstanding. Well, if you can't see that water's concave, I don't know what to tell you. 4 to 6 inches. Footage is great here today. There's tons of boats. Hey, look, the shoreline is above those boats again. I'm real low. This is like 4 or 5 inches. There they are. Outstanding. Boats below the opposite shoreline again. Now I'm skimming the water. If water's flat, I shouldn't see anything over those boats. To see over that boat, I have to look upward because my camera altitude is lower than the boat. Common sense, folks. There's a dip in that water and that boat's in the middle of it. Concave. underneath the opposite shoreline. Again, look at that. Looks like even his head is underneath the opposite shoreline. That boat is several miles out there, which would explain why the sand on the shoreline is at or above his head. Look at that boat, clearly beneath the cargo ship. These little white boats that are in between me and the cargo ship are much lower than the cargo ship. I'll show my camera altitude real quickly. Right here, at about 4 or 5 inch altitude. We'll get back out there and show. These smaller boats are in the concavity, the dip in the water in between me and the cargo ship. My camera altitude is too low. I'm looking upwards over that little white boat to see what's beyond that white boat. I have to be looking upwards because my camera altitude's lower than the boat. So how are we seeing that other boat higher? Absolutely stunning footage. I'm about as low to the water as you can possibly get to avoid the waves, so I'm skimming the water with zoom, and clearly that further boat is way higher than the closer boat. Check and mate. Having a hard time determining what this craft is in the sky. It's just going back and forth. It's a diamond-shaped craft. I don't know what that is. Just moving, going left and right across the screen. It's just going back and forth over Detroit. And I'm not exactly... It's moving very slowly. You can tell it's like a diamond shape. What in the world is that? So we're at Lake St. Clair in Michigan, and we're looking across it over Detroit, and I'm noticing this thing in the sky, something. It's a diamond shape. It's moving really slowly. It could just be a kite. That's probably what it is, just a kite. But I don't know, it's really high. It's a really high kite. What do you think, honey? Think it's just a kite? Someone all the way across over there is flying a kite?
I don't know if it would pick up a kite.
I mean, it's going like really, the path it's taken, I mean, it's going from like over here. You see where it is now. Oh, now there's another one. Look at this, there's two of them.
Maybe they are kites.
Yeah, I think they are. But I was seeing that same kite way over here on the other side of Detroit, probably like 20, 30 miles away. So, there they are. There's a seagull. There's one kite. There's another kite. Is that what these are? Kites? I don't know. I'm not convinced because I'm seeing kites like way over there. Now it's way to the left of Detroit. Look at this. And then over here, we saw it over here earlier. You know, there's not any more kites over here. So I don't know what's up with that. It doesn't. I mean, they're staying like they don't look like they're being carried by the wind. They just look like diamond-shaped somethings just moving in the sky. They don't like you never see them like tip or barrel roll or like act like they're being carried by wind. They just look like diamond-shaped.
Like a kite would.
Right. They're not behaving like kites, like they're being carried by the wind. They look like they're just hovering above the earth, above Detroit. So I find that very strange. See if I can pick those up again. You'll see what I'm talking about. See this one right here? That's not behaving like a kite. It's just, you know, it's not being carried by the wind.
It's kind of weird.
Tough time getting it to focus. But, I mean, these aren't like moving sideways or anything, or like tipping over, or they're not even flapping, you know what I mean? Like it's a perfect diamond shape the whole time. It's not even changing. You know, a kite is filled with air and it's fabric, so it's going to change. Oh, I just ruined my focus a little bit, no big deal. I'll just zoom back in on it. But these are just like diamond shapes up in the sky that aren't changing shape. They're not they're just, I don't know. They can't be kites. They can't be kites. You have entered the Twilight Zone. So I don't know what those are hovering over Detroit, but whatever. Anyhow, here's my camera altitude, but nothing. There we have it. Yet again. Boat's below the opposite shoreline. See that boat closer is a little bit lower than that boat further away. This is very difficult to do by hand. Get it done. Again, just to prove my altitude here, just right on this angled rock. Pow, underneath the opposite shoreline. there you have it. How is it possible he's underneath that opposite shoreline? So it's just a matter of finding a vessel that's the right distance away, and you can see that water's concave. Those fishermen there are resting in the concavity. They're approximately halfway between me and the opposite shoreline, and because they're the appropriate distance away, they're appearing in the dip in the middle. Same thing here, you can see that opposite shoreline. These guys are a little bit too close. But if you take the time, you'll find boats that are often the right distance away, and you'll catch them right in the middle, underneath opposite shorelines, just like that. Just like that. Got these guys right in the middle of this body of water. This guy's probably a little bit too close. There you go. There's the shoreline over there above the boats. Just got to be patient enough, and you'll catch them. You'll catch them. So I'm just going to zoom back out, or back in, however you want to look at it. And I'm just going to turn this around so that you can see my camera altitude. Okay. There's a 360, just 2 or 3 inches above the water.
Love you guys. Have a good one.
Now, in order to catch that horizon, folks, I got to incline the camera. It's not level anymore. if I go like this, if I put the green line right on the horizon, you see how the dot's yellow, indicating the camera's not level. I've got to lower the camera to get level on both axes, which puts the horizon above center frame, which is what we expect to see on a concave Earth. And you can tell it's very sensitive. I just barely bump in the camera and it's going off level on one axis and going off level on the other axis. You can tell when you see how it shows you those yellow lines there. That tells you you're off center. And if I go the other direction, it's going to tell me how far I am off center. You see those yellow lines there. So Nikon has an auto leveler in. There we go, turn that back on. Nikon has an auto leveler in here so that you can find level, and there you have it. Horizon's above center frame, which is inconsistent with a convex Earth.